Okay, good morning, future realtors. What we have for you today is Chapter 17, and Chapter 17 is all about underwriting and borrower qualifications as to how much loan a person would get. Okay, there are many types of loan, but we are going to concentrate on residential loans, okay, commercial loans, and a couple of questions on uh, renovations and loans for that. So let's get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is tell you that there are three parts to Chapter 17. Okay, first one we're going to talk about residential loans. We're going to do a couple of examples. Part two, we're going to do commercial loans, and part three is doing questions regarding residential loans and commercial loans. Okay, so and in part three, we also have what's called the stress test question. So let's get started in part one. Okay, a little bit of information, knowledge before we get into the examples, mathematics. What are prime mortgages? Prime mortgages are also called A mortgages, A style, and they represent most of the mortgage lending in Canada. Prime mortgages are less risky for the lender, okay, since the chances of the borrower defaulting are very low. Subprime mortgages, also called B mortgages or non-prime or near prime, but mainly the subprime are called B mortgages or B lenders. This is a mortgage that is granted to a candidate who's at higher risk than prime mortgage borrower. Okay, so the person who's applying for this loan could be poor or limited credit rating, or his income is non-verifiable, or he has a previous consumer proposal or a bankruptcy. So usually anyone who has any one of these four usually has to go to B lenders to get his loan, and B lenders usually charge more interest rate and possibly fees. Okay, most of the mortgage lending is done from A type of lenders, which are your banks and your credit unions. These are more of your mix and private lending. Okay, so let's take a look at the borrowers. Okay, we're going to use gross income. Okay, whenever we're talking about income that needed to support the loan, it is the gross income, not the net income of the person or the family. Okay, so in terms of credit, there's something called 5 C's of credit in qualifying a borrower. That's basically how much mortgage a person will get and whether he will get a mortgage or a loan is decided by these 5 C's. First thing a lender looks at is the person or the company's character. Will the borrower be able to repay the loan? Okay, this is a character is a subjective opinion based on the borrower's employment situation, education background, business experience, length of time at the current residence. Okay, so this is a subjective opinion by the lender to see what character the borrower has. Capital. Capital is how much money the borrower personally will invest. This is called the down payment. Capacity. Very similar to the character, can the borrower repay the loan? So in terms of capacity, this is a mathematical. This is all math. The character part is just a subjective opinion looking at things, his current employment, education background, but this is actually doing the mathematics. The mathematics is going to involve the gross income, not the net income, and also it's going to involve what are called debt service ratios. There's something called the total debt service ratio and the gross income debt service ratio. We're going to look more. This is what part three is really what the rest of the chapter is all about, doing the calculations to figure out how much loan the person will get, how much loan or whether the person will even get a loan from the lender is really decided also by the character of the borrower. Credit. Anytime that the borrower or the lender wants to give a loan, he will pull a credit of the person, and the credit will show to the lender his pattern of habits of making payments. Collateral. Okay, so basically in real estate, usually 20% is down payment and 80% is loan. And the 80% loan is covered by the collateral of the real estate property itself. So if the person doesn't make payments, he has paid 20% himself. The lender is secured that he can sell this property and get his 80% back. Okay, so the two ratios in terms of the capacity, one is called the gross debt service ratio, okay, GDSR. GDSR is the payment plus property taxes divided by the gross income. And the total debt service ratio is same as this, but also included is other debts. We're going to do a question which shows how to calculate these two things. So both of these debt ratios are used to assess the risk of income. Okay, so it's the capacity. Okay, so in terms of the property, the lender looks at what's called the lending value of the property. The lending value may not be the same as the listing value or the appraised value or the value of the sale or the sale price. Okay, lending value is decided by the lender after he gets an appraisal done on it, and then he decides whether the appraisal is equal to the lending value or if he's going to put a lower lending value than the appraisal. So the definition is lending value is the long-term estimated value of the property, may be set by the lender to be lower than the market value or the purchase price. Market value. What's the definition of market value? It's an estimate of what the property might sell for given proper good marketing by the real estate brokerage. Purchase price is the negotiated price of the property. Purchase cost is the negotiated price, purchase price, plus other legal costs of putting this property on the buyer's name. Okay, there's something called loan to value ratio, L over V. Okay, this is in percents. Okay, L stands for loan and V stands for value of the property, lending value. Be careful here. I know we have an L here. This L stands for loan. This V stands for the lending value. It's used to assess the risk of capital property. Okay, what it means is the lender is not going to go higher than a certain percentage for the loan. So usually maximum percentage loan to value by the lenders is usually 80%. Okay, lenders, well, their business is lending money. So they do want to lend money, but they want to make sure that their money comes back in payments. Okay, so they will only lend to people who they think will be able to make payments and return their money. Okay, so their main concern is default, meaning person's not going to be able to make payments. Okay, so if they find some situation where they see that this person is a good person to lend to but has a little bit of risk involved, then they will either charge higher interest rate or they'll change some other terms to that loan. Okay, now every lender wants property to have fire insurance, because if the property burns down, the house burns down, there's only land left over, and the land sometimes may not be the same amount or equal to the loan that was given. Land value may be less than what the value of the loan or the amount of the loan. So the requirement is that the lenders require fire insurance to make sure that they have their security covered. And they usually want the insurance to be more than the loan amount so that they can get their loan value out. They can get their loan that they gave, the amount that they gave, they can get that back. Okay, so let's take a look at some few more definitions. Okay, what is the listed price? The price that an item is put on the market for sale. That's called the listed price. Sold price, the price the buyer pays for the property. Appraised value, an appraiser, a professional goes out, and usually he's hired by the bank to go out and see if, or not if, goes out to see what is the value of that property. Now our chapter 21, 22, 23, and 24 are all about how an appraiser does that job, okay? So the evaluation, the appraisal value evaluation is performed by a professional appraiser, and the appraiser is usually chosen by the lender. It's not like whoever the borrower is, he doesn't get to choose the appraiser. The lender gets to choose the appraiser, but the lender will most likely ask the borrower to pay for the appraisal value, pay for the appraisal report. Property taxes, taxes paid on the property by the owner. Okay, we're going to do an example. Mr. and Mrs. Gill, that's me and my wife, has applied for a mortgage loan to finance a $400,000 home, and Mr. Gill's income is $50,000 per year, gross income. Okay, this is gross income, not net income. Okay, the bank informs him that they will apply an 80% loan to value ratio and a 30% gross debt service ratio when calculating the maximum loan. So information about the loan, current rate is 5.5, J2, compounded semi-annually means J2 equals 5.5, 20-year amortization period, and the property taxes of the home that Mr. and Mrs. Gill is buying is $1,000 per year, and the mortgage payments are going to be per month. We want to know what's the maximum loan the bank will grant Mr. and Mrs. Gill. So this is how we do this question. Okay, first, let's take a look at the house. Well, value of the home, we've been told it's a $400,000 home. Okay, and we've been told that the lender will give only 80%. So loan to value 80%. Okay, so first thing we do is we write this formula, loan over value equals 80%. Okay, we're looking for loan, L. We're looking for this part. Okay, value, this is the value of the home, lending value of the home. So next we put L over V, this 80%, change it into decimals, 0.80. How do you change 80%? You divide by 100. So that gives you 0.80. So we're looking for L. We know V. V is 400,000. So we put V, or I'm going to change this formula. L is going to be 0.80 times V, Okay, remember in algebra, this number, this value, this part goes up here. Okay, so now we put in the V. V is 400,000. And 320 is loan possible. This is the amount of loan that's possible. Okay, 80%, according to 80%, possible amount of loan is 320,000. Now we're going to do the income. Okay, this is the income part. This is the value of the, according to the value of the home. Now we're looking at the, according to the income constraint of the family, or actually at this time only income of Mr. Gill. Later on, we'll do examples where lenders allowing the income of the other spouse. So here's what we have. So all this information from here, I'm going to put it here. Gross debt service ratio, 30%. It says 30% gross debt service ratio. What does gross debt service ratio mean? It's the percentage that the lender is allowing to be used towards payment, taxes, and the income. Okay, so it's a percentage of income that's going to be used for payment plus taxes. So here's how we do this question. So the formula is GDSR, and your textbook writes this as P plus I. P plus I stands for principal plus interest. Both of these together is your payment for the loan. Okay, I like to write payment. I'm going to use this formula. I'm not going to use this. It's the same formula. P plus I is the same as payment of your loan. So first thing we do is we put in some numbers. Well, GDS is 30%. Again, same as here, 80% is 0.80, 30% is 0.30. I'm going to use this formula. PMT plus T. So PMT, payment, is what we're looking for. We have no information here given to us as to how much payment, what will be the payment of this loan. That's what we're going to try to figure out. And the taxes are $1,000. So what do we do next? Well, we're looking for this. So first thing we're going to do is take the 0.30 and multiply by 50,000. So 0.30, that's still 0.30, times 50,000. And that leaves us this top part. Okay, payment plus 1,000. Next, we're going to figure out this. This is 15,000. That's 15,000. That's payment plus 1,000. Okay, see, that's the top part. This part goes over here as a multiplier. So that's, remember the algebra? So that's 15,000. Now we know, we can see this number is 14,000 because 14,000 plus 1,000 is 15,000. So payment, this payment is 15,000 take away 1,000. Comes out to be 14,000 per year. But payments are going to be per month. So we need to divide this number by 12. That comes out to be 1166 points. That's P plus I, meaning principal plus interest. That's the maximum amount. Don't worry about this part. Just know that this is the payment. Okay, now what we do is we draw the timeline diagram. And in the timeline diagram, we put interest rate and the end value. Interest rate is J2 equals 5.5. End value, N is 20 years, 20-year amortization period. And now if it had said something like 3-year term or something, or 5-year term, that doesn't make any difference on the amount of the PV, the loan amount that the person will get. That, if there's a term, that means the loan ends at that time. Okay? So continue, we're looking for this value here. PV is the loan amount. We know it's fully amortized, 20-year amortization, meaning FV is 0 after 20 years. So we, from here, from all this, we bring this number down here. There. We need this number. Okay? Now we take our calculator. We take our calculator, and our calculator is Alt let's try that again. There. Okay. So first thing I want to do is a couple of things. If there's too many zeros, let me just put too many zeros here, like this. I don't like to use my calculator like that. Okay. Fix it by second function equal decimal. Okay. 1 0 is all I want. Nice clean screen. Okay. So next, also, if it should be a clean screen. If there is this, if it says BEG, begin, we don't want begin. Our loans in Canada are not at, not in advance. Okay, begin means in advance. So clean that by taking second function and there. So we want a totally clean screen. Okay, now let's clear all. Okay, so first thing, do we need to convert? Yes, it's monthly payment, so we need to convert. 5 steps. 2, we want J12. 5.5. Step 2. And what's step 3? Step 3 is second function effective. Now we have J1 on the screen. We want J12, so 12. And step 5 there. That's J2 converted to J12. J2 equal 5.5 converted to J12. Now we leave it alone. Let me show you this one more time. Okay, we need to convert this to J12. If this was already J12, given, let's say it said compounded monthly, then we would not convert. It says compounded semi-annually, we need to convert. So first thing I'm going to do is clear all and convert. Let's convert. 5 steps. First step, everything is second function. Second step, third step, fourth step, J12 is what we want, and fifth step. Now we have converted. Now remember, we go from here, go this way. N is 20 years, which we need in months, so it's 240. There, this has been dealt with. PV is what we're looking for. Payment is 1166.67 negative, because it's money that's going to go out of the pocket, and 0 for FV. And we go back and see the diagram. What are we looking for? We're looking for PV. That is the maximum loan according to the income. That is the maximum loan according to the income. So from the income, that the bank is only allowing 30% of the income to be used. 30% of 50,000. That's 15,000. Okay. The 15,000 now is not just for the loan, but it's also covering the property taxes. So this is part of the loan. This is the loan payment. Okay. Because of this loan payment that we found this number here, or this per year, but this is for the month. Because of this number, we bring that over here, this number, and all the criteria of the lender. These are the criteria of the lender. The calculation tells us how much loan can be attained by the borrower. So continue. So the possible loan according to the income is 170. Possible loan according to the value of the property is 320. The lender is not going to go with a higher. I know the borrower would love to get 320,000 loan, but according to the income, lender says this is the maximum I can give you because that's the maximum you'll be able to afford. If I give you more than 170, there's possibly defaulting, meaning you may not be able to make payments. So what do we have here? Maximum loan using loan to value constraint. This one is 320. Maximum loan using the income constraint, income of these people or this person is 170, and the lender will give the lower of the two, which is the gross debt service ratio constraint, which is $170,000. Okay, well, this is it. This is all Chapter 17 residential loan is about. Okay, let me go through that one more time for you. Okay, I'm going to take everything here. Okay, so value, lending value, 400,000, loan to value given to us 80%. So first thing we do is write this formula down. Loan over value equals 80%. I always like L over V instead of just the full words, 80%. And 80% times value. So this formula converted to L. So 0.8 times 400,000, 320 possible loan according to the value of this property. Now we're going to look at the family. We're going to look at the person who's applying for the loan, who wants this loan. There are what's called gross debt service ratio that's given to us by the bank, 30%. Person's income, this person's income per year, it's called gross income, not net income, 50,000 per year. It was given to us right here. And the property tax of this home is $1,000. So what we do is we write this formula down right here. Gross debt service ratio equals payment plus taxes over gross income. Okay, so this is 30, this is 0.30, 30%. So payment plus taxes is $1,000 and gross income is 50,000. Next step, we're going to multiply this and this together, and that'll leave us this top part. So I know we forgot to put a 0 there, but that's 0.30 is the same as 0.3. Put that over there, that becomes a times, and that leaves us this top part. And now calculate this using a calculator. 0.3 times 50 is 15,000. That's for payment plus $1,000, which is taxes, property taxes. So now we know this is 14,000. There. That's for the year. Okay, per year. This is all per year. Everything's year, and this is for the year too. Now we want monthly payments. So we need to divide this by 12. That gives us 1166. From all of this, this is what we want. This is our purpose. All of these formulas are going to give us this number. And now we draw the timeline diagram, and we get the details of the loan, interest rate of the loan, and the amortization period of this loan. We're looking for this part. This is called the loan amount. Possible loan is PV. And from all this here, we bring this number down here. This is per month. This is per month. Don't worry about what P plus I for now. Okay, now we bring in the calculator. clear everything on the calculator. And first thing we do is look at the interest rate, and we are talking months. This has to be in months, and this is already in months. Okay, it's per month. So we're going to convert 5 steps to 5.5 effective. That's step 3. We want J12 and step 5. Done. Conversion has been done. N. Now remember, I always use my calculator and look at the diagram. I don't look at the diagram and put in things into the calculator. It's easier for me to look at the calculator here and go this way. And every time I want to put something in, I look at the diagram. Okay, so N. N is 20 years. 20 times 12. 20 times 12 in months. 20 times 12. That's N. Done. I per year, we've already dealt with. That was conversions. PV, we're looking for. Skip. Payment. Payment is 1166.67. Payment. FV. Now we need FV. Look at the diagram. FV is 0. Finished. Now we go back and look at the diagram. It says PV, question mark. Well, let's press it there. So the maximum loan, according to the income, is 170. There it is, 170. So now the lender is going to look at both. I know the borrower wants this loan. He'd rather have 320. Lender is going to look at both and go with the lower of the two. So maximum loan using the loan to value constraint, 320. Maximum loan using the income constraint, 170. Lender's going to give 170. Sometimes the exam questions is just finding the finding the loan according to the value of the property. Then you just do that. You don't do any of this. Sometimes the question is, how much loan will this person qualify for according to the person's income? Then you only do this part. Okay. On the exam, they trick a lot of tricky different type of questions, which we'll go through in part 3. Okay, let's do another question. So let's say we take a look at this example again, but this time, let's say the lender is willing to go to 85% instead of 80%. Okay, everything else the same, but the lender is willing to go. Of course, the borrower would like to go to 85%. But it's a lender who decides, okay? So lender is willing to go to 85%. So I'm just going to do another same example. And the more times you do these examples, the better you get at it, okay? So it's going to be 85%. Let's do a question with 85%. First thing we do is we write L over V equals 85. Then we say L over V equals 0.85. Then we say L equals 0.85 times V. Then we say 0.85 times 400,000. So maximum loan possible 340,000 according to the value. Okay, because if the lender is willing to go to 85%, then this is the maximum loan possible according to the value of the property. Well, did any of this change? No. Let's just go through it. Okay, gross debt service ratio 30%, gross income 50,000, property taxes 1,000. So first thing we do is we write the formula. GDSR. Don't write this part. GDSR equals payment plus T over GI. Then you put the numbers in. This 30 goes here. PMT plus 1,000 over 50,000 gross income. GI stands for gross income. Okay, this is sometimes the gross income is given in months. Then you have to multiply that to get years. Okay, sometimes the property taxes is given in months. Then you have to multiply by 12 because this formula needs everything for the year. Okay, next. Multiply 0.30 times 50,000. 0.30 times 50,000. That's 15,000. So payment is 14,000. Now it's going to be monthly payments. Now if it was quarterly payments, you would divide this by 4. Okay, but it's monthly payments. Payment per month, 1166. Then you draw the timeline diagram, and you get the information about the loan. And we're looking for PV. This is the information we need from all of this. This number here goes here. And now we bring in the calculator. And let me do that quickly for you. Conversion to 5.5. step 3, 12, step 4, and step 5. This is the hard part, conversion. Okay, end 240, 240 months. This is done. PV we're looking for, payment 1166.67, negative payment. FV, look at the diagram, it's 0. And go back, PV. Okay, the loan, maximum loan according to income, which is the same as before. Last example we did, 170. Well, which loan is the lender going to give you? Well, it's still 170. Still, this side is deciding the loan. It doesn't matter whether we take this to 95% or 98%. This number will go bigger, but it's this number that decides the loan. In order for this person or this family to get a higher loan, they have to work on this side. Well, we're going to do a couple of questions where we change some things on this side to see how those calculations can be done. Maximum loan according to loan to value, maximum loan according to income, and the maximum loan will be this. Okay, this time, same example. This time we are going to change, okay, this one's still the same, okay, 80%, so 80% of 400, 320. So that's loan possible. This time we're going to do something here. Let's say the bank is willing to go to 40% gross debt service ratio, 40%, okay, not 30%, okay? So let's do the question if this number was 40%. So here's our formula. You put 40% here, 0.40 instead of 0.30. Payment is what we're looking for. Property taxes didn't change. They're $1,000 per year. Gross income didn't change. That's $50,000 per year. So everything else is the same. Only this is, instead of 0.3, it's 0.40. Next step, 0.40 times 50,000. That's going to be for payment and the taxes. So the 0.40 times 50,000 comes out to be 20,000. So we know this number is 19,000 now per year. Need to divide by 12. That comes out to be 1583. Now we draw the timeline diagram. Put in the details of the loan. J2 equals 5.5. Amortization period 20 years. We're looking for PV. FV is 0. And on this diagram, we need to bring this number down here. There. Now we bring in the calculator. And we clear everything. And we convert. Let's convert J2, 5.5. Effective. And 12. Done. Okay, conversion's done. N is 20 times 12, which is 240. This is done. PV we're looking for. Payment. It's not 1100 like before, but it's 1583.33 negative payment. FV, look at the diagram, it's 0. And we press PV. Well, it's possible. If the bank is willing to increase this to 40%, he could get not 170. Remember, it was 170,000 before. It could be 231,000. So sometimes the exam question is increasing the gross debt service ratio. Increasing, meaning going from 30% to 40%. It's possible you could get more loan. Yes. Decreasing this number will go down. Because decreasing this number will take, let's say it was 20%, okay? 20% here times 50, this number is 10,000. 10,000 minus 1,000 would be 9,000. So this number would become a 9,000 if this was 20%. So 9,000 divided by 12, this number would be much, much smaller. 9,000 divided by 12. $750. So if we use $750 as our payment, this number would be much, much lower. Okay, so higher this number, gross debt service ratio, more loan possible. So now how much loan is possible? Lender's going to look at this and look at that. Well, the amount that's possible is not 320. That's according to the loan to value, but it's going to be the income. Sometimes, let's say this person was willing to go to 50% lender, and let's say this person's, they had $500,000 per year. Then it would be this side that isn't going to decide the loan. Then it would be this side that's deciding the loan. Okay, so it's not always the income which is going to decide the loan. It's the lower of the two. Okay, now if we were to say, let's say that, this person, instead of $50,000 per year, let's say they made $500,000 per year. Okay, let me do the question. If it was $500,000 per year, 0.4, or look, we'll come back to that. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, same example. No changes with loan to value, still 320 according to loan to value. But now the lender is willing to use the other spouse's income, and they stipulate that they're going to only use 50% of the spouse's income. This is just an example. Usually they use both 100% of both people's income. Most lenders will use the entire wife and husband or spouse's couple's income. Okay, so if it's going to be 50% of wife's income, which is $32,000, so the total income for the family is, we know it's $82,000, but the lender is only wanting to use 50% of the spouse's income. So we're going to use $16,000 for the wife and 50. So $16,000 and 50 makes $66,000 is what the income lender is willing to use. So let's go with the formula. So notice now, gross income, before we were just putting 50, now we're going to put in 66. Okay, we went back to gross debt service ratio of 30%. So next step, you take the 66,000 over there, multiply 0.30 times 66, and then that's the top part right there. So that's 19,800. So minus 1,000 becomes 18,800 per year. Divide by 12 becomes 1566. And timeline diagram, information requirements of the loan. We're looking for PV, and we bring this number here. And now we're ready to bring in the calculator. Okay, conversion. Yes, conversion is needed to 5.5. N is 240. PV is what we're looking for. Payment is 1566.67. Payment. And FV is 0. And PV, that's the loan. Something's wrong. There's no way it's only 56,000. Something's wrong. Let me go through that again. Okay, 2, 5.5. Conversion, step 3, J12, step 4, step 5. Okay, N 240. PV, this PV we're looking for, payment 1,500.67, payment, and 0 for FV, and PV is our loan, 228,000. I don't know what went wrong in the previous. Okay, so maximum loan according to income is 228. Okay, what's the lender going to give? He's going to work with 228. Lower of the two is what the lender will give. So he will give 228,000. Okay, let's do another example. Again, same example. No change in the loan or the value. Sometimes the value can change also by if the borrower says, you know what, let's say this side was deciding the loan, this side, and he really wanted 330. So possibly it could be higher than this. A lot of times lenders don't go higher than 80, but you might ask the lender to send in a different appraiser. Say, can we get it appraised again? And can you look at the value of the property, because it's really good property that I got. It's not 400,000, it's 420,000. So then we would use 420,000. Okay, continue. Okay, this time we're going to keep all this details the same. So 0.30, 30%, 50,000 is the only income that they're willing to use. So that becomes payment 1166. But this time we're asking the lender to take this number, interest rate, and maybe lower it a little bit. Let's say the lender says, okay, I can lower it to 4.8. Okay, does that mean more loan? More the amount of loan that the lender will give? Yes. Okay, let's go back now. This number, making it higher, gives you more loan. This income, making it higher, gives you more loan. But in terms of interest rate, it's the lower that's going to give you more loan. Okay, let's do that. So here's our timeline diagram, and we bring this payment, and I'm going to bring my calculator and clear. Okay, so conversion, J2, 2, and what's the rate? 4.8. Convert to J12. Conversion's done. N, 240. This has already been done. PV we're looking for. Payment is 1166.67. FV is 0. And we're looking for PV, 180. Okay, so maximum loan, remember it was about 170 if we use 5.5, but if we use 4.8, it come out to 180. So if we go higher rate, if we take this number 5.5 and change it to 5.7 or something, then this number's lower. Okay, so lower the rate, more higher the loan. So according to this, 320, according to income, 180, and the bank is going to give according to income, which is 180. Okay, let's do one more situation. Okay, this time same 30% and 50,000 per year. Timeline. Okay, this time let's see what happens if the lender is willing to change this number. If the lender is willing to, and now it's higher the number, more loan that person could qualify for. So let's say the lender is willing to go up to 30 years. So interest rate is same, 5.5, but the lender is willing to change this number to 30. So let's do that. Okay. So again, we're looking from here. We bring that number down here, and we bring in our calculator and clear everything on the calculator. Okay. Next, so conversion to J2, 5.5, and step 3. J12 is what we want. That's step 4. Step 5. Done. N, 30 years. What's 30 times 12? 360. This is done. PV we're looking for. Payment, look at the diagram. Payment is 1166.67. Payment. And 0 for FV, and PV is 206. So the loan possible if the lender is willing to increase the amortization period to 30 years, 206,000. So it's either 320 or 206. Maximum loan using loan to value is 320. Maximum loan using the income is 206. Maximum loan possible, 206. Okay, another example, example 7. This time, just wanted to show you that it's not always the income constraint that decides the loan, okay? If you take a look at everything's the same, except the house that Mr. and Mrs. Gill are buying is only worth 40,000. I know there aren't that many homes that are worth 40,000, but let's do a question, okay? So let's say the house is worth 40,000, but everything else is the same. So value the house, value the home, 40,000. Loan to value ratio, still 80%. So formula L over V, L over V equals 0.80. L equals 0.80 times V. L equals 0.80 times 40,000, not 400,000 because it's 40,000. And the maximum loan according to the income, according to the value of the property is 32,000. Now we do the same thing according to all this information. We're still going to do the income part. Okay. So the gross debt service ratio is 30%, right here, 30%. And gross income is 50, not net income, gross income, 50,000 per year. And property taxes, 1,000 per year. Okay. Formula: gross debt service ratio equals payment plus T over gross income. 30% is 0.30, payment plus 1,000. Take this number up here, multiply, and 50 times 0.3 is 15,000. So this number payment is going to be 14,000, and that's for the year. You need it per month. If it's per quarter, then divide by 4. It's per month, so divide by 12. And now you draw the timeline diagram. And this is the detail from this paragraph of the lender requirements. Lender is giving interest rate 5.5, 20-year amortization period. And if this question had said 5-year term, that has nothing to do with the amount of the loan person will get. That's just a contract time period. Okay, so we're looking for PV. This number comes down here, and then we bring in our calculator, and we're going to convert. First thing we do is convert. Let's do that. J2. So J2, there's J2, and it's how much? 5.5. Effective 12. And conversion's been done. N is 240. PV is what we're looking for. Payment is 1166.67. And 0 for FV and PV. So according to the income, they could give them $170,000. Okay, so now, what loan are they going to give them? The lower of the two. It's going to be $32,000 or $170,000. And maximum loan using loan to value constraint, $32,000. Maximum loan according to the income is $170,000. The lender will give $32,000, this number. Great. Let's do one more, last one for part 1. This time, we're going to make, let's say Mr. Gill has an income of $500,000 per year. Okay, so again, we're still keeping the same $400,000 home. So according to the $4,000 home, the lender would give loan of $320,000 possible. Okay, now we're going to look at this $500,000 per year income. So this, now Mr. Gill is even more happier. This should be a happy face. Gross income, $500,000. Okay, so the formula: gross debt service ratio equals payment plus taxes over gross income, 0.30. And this time, this number here, this number should be 500,000 right here. This number should be 500,000, not 50,000. Okay, so payment plus 1,000. So next step is take your 0.30 times 500,000. So sorry for the mistake. This number should be 500,000. So 0.3 times 500,000, payment plus 1,000. 0.3 times 500,000 is 150,000. So this number is 149,000. 149,000 per year. Divided by 12, the number comes out to payment possible 12,416. Draw the timeline diagram. And we're looking for PV, and this diagram, this number goes over here. And now we bring in the calculator and clear everything from the calculator and convert to and 5.5. Step 2, step 3, J12, step 4, step 5. Done. All second function. Okay. First step is second function this. Second step is second function this. Third step is second function this. Fourth step is second function this. And fifth step is second function this. That's 5 steps. Okay. Now we have our conversion. So N is 240. Done. PV we're looking for. Payment is 12,000. 416.67. payment, 0 FV, and PV. So the maximum loan according to the income is 1,800,000. Well, which loan is the lender going to give? 320 according to the house, or 1,800,000 according to the person's income? Borrowers would be very happy to get 1,800,000 because the house is only worth 400, so he's got an extra 1.4 million as a loan, which he's probably not going to make payments. He's going to run off. Okay, the lender is only going to give the lower of the two, which is 320, not 1.8. Okay, the lender will loan the lower of the two, which is the value constraint, 320,000. Thank you.